What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you so much for joining me here at my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that I love to talk about. And right now, I want to give you guys my thoughts on episode 1 of season 2. Season 2, episode 1 of Expedition X. So Expedition X is the Josh Gates show. Anybody that's been in my channel for a while knows I'm a big Josh Gates fan, and this is kind of the spin-off from Expedition Unknown, where this one kind of focuses more on the paranormal, alien, cryptid type stuff, where Josh isn't really, he's more focused on the historical stuff. He's got a team of Phil and Rachel. Is it Rachel or Jessica? I think it's Jessica now that I mention it. He's got a team who is out there in his place. It is Jessica. Sorry. He's got a team that's out there in his place who is investigating anything paranormal or anything alien or anything like that that comes up. So this episode of Expedition X focused on the cattle slaughtering phenomenon that's been happening in Oregon and surrounding areas, or the cattle mutilation. So it's happening, and I've got the story right here. I kind of read it before I wanted to do this video. In the summer of 2019, 5 bulls were mutilated at the Silvis Valley Ranch in Oregon. It's estimated that each 2,000-pound bull was worth about $6,000. And this isn't the only case. This is something that's been happening for years and years and years, even decades. So what is mutilating these cattle, these bulls? And there's a lot of questions about what it could be. In fact, there's been other cryptid shows that has investigated this. In fact, Josh Gates himself investigated cattle mutilations in Destination Truth back when he was doing that show. And I believe that was part of the Chupacabra episode, if I remember correctly. But so there's been a lot of speculation and research into what does these cattle killings, and we know that these are, cattle aren't just something that a local stray dog can take down, right? It requires a large predator or a pack of predators like wolves, and all that was really discussed in this, and I really like the fact that, and that's one thing I really like about the show, it's kind of got the X-Files vibe going, right? Where you've got the skeptic in Phil, and you've got the believer in Jessica, and I like how, I realize that a lot of this is scripted. I get that. But I like how sincere both of them are, and how open-minded both of them are, and how willing to listen to each other's positions each one of them are. In fact, for somebody who's a skeptic, he usually seems pretty easy to say, well, you know what? I just can't explain that. I think that's great. I think that's great. And like I said, I get that some of it's scripted, but I think it's great that we see a skeptic being like, well, I need to consider that. And then we also see the believer saying, well, you're right, that, there is an explanation to that. I think that's one of the things that really turns me on to the show. Not just that it's got adventurer Josh Gates in it, but it has that dynamic where they definitely entertain both sides of the coin, as far as based in science or based in something paranormal. And in this episode, they definitely went down the natural route, trying to figure out, is there a predator? They did, in fact, prove that there were wolves in that area of Oregon, that they had come back, so that was rather significant. But they also did a neat time-lapse video of a decaying bull that was dead, and they realized that no. Insects and predator, or insects and scavengers, are not going to do to a bull's body what these mutilations are. So these mutilations are something different. I think that at this point, based on what they showed us in this episode, it's either paranormal or it's man. The mutilations are caused by man. Now, just to get out of the way, I love these shows, and I'm always open-minded. I'm always open to entertain the possibility of paranormal stuff. There's stuff that our brains just cannot comprehend. I believe that there's so much more about this world that we just don't realize So I'm always open to the idea of paranormal stuff, but I'm somewhat of a skeptic where I'm like, if I don't see it, there's got to be a rational explanation for it. That's me. That's me personally, who I am. But I enjoy these shows. So for me, I believe it's man. I believe it's done by man. Now they follow two threads in this. They follow the thread that it's a cult or devil worshippers or something like that, or they follow thread B where it's government testing local cattle for radiation. Before we talk about those two, they do try to do a UFO investigation, and of course they are, because the cow mutilations are always tied closely to UFOs. So I don't know. Of course they were going to pull on that thread. I just didn't. I've never seen any evidence that makes me believe that UFOs are killing cows. I've never seen that evidence in any of the shows that I've watched or any of the research that I've done on my own. It's just not there. Nothing convincing is there. But what I did find convincing was the argument they had a guest on who talked about he believes that the government is actually mutilating these cows, and I think that you know what? They thought it was crazy, and then they came around and said, you know what? This might actually be what it is. And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, this might actually be what's happening. The idea that the government, remember, this is in this area, there was testing of nuclear bombs done all over that area. So what they're trying to figure out is the nuclear fallout that happened here years ago, is it still affecting the land today? Is it affecting our cattle? I think that's really compelling. I do. I think it's really compelling because seeing the bodies of these cattle and seeing that it would not happen naturally, the most obvious, the most rational explanation is that it's done by man. Now, it could be done by some sort of cult that's out there trying to, offer up a sacrifice of some sort. But like they said in the show, there's no evidence for that. But there is evidence that the government had been doing some research here on nuclear fallout. So all that being said, this is not the type of Expedition X show that normally I'm excited about, because normally I'm excited about, let's search for something, let's investigate something, let's look for this alien, or let's look for this cryptid, or let's look for this ghost, or whatever it might be. We are researching the ghost that appears at the Island of the Dolls, or whatever it might be. This episode was more of a, we don't know what we're looking for, we just know that there's a phenomenon going on here, and we're here to investigate it. And I thought that was compelling, and I thought it was different. It's not how I would have started the season. I would have started the season with like a well-known, some sort of cryptid or something that they'd be investigating. But this is well-known. And a lot of people know about this. A lot of people who aren't even into cryptids know about this. And I think it was an interesting place to start. So it was a good first episode. I'm anxious to see where they go next. Season 1 was very good. It kind of trailed off towards the end. I really liked the beginning episodes of season 1, and then it just kind of trailed off after that. But I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed this episode. So what did you think of Expedition X Season 2, Episode 1? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you so much for joining me here at the LQ Review. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and until next time, we'll see you later.